Welcome back to Living Local. I am Stephen Walker, of course, joined by Mayor Shaundel Washington-Spivey. Thank you so much for joining me, sir.
Thank you for having me here.
Hoping to make this a monthly sit-down because I think it's important for people to know who's leading their city, like on a more personal level. So why did you run for mayor?
I ran for mayor as someone who I've invested a lot in this community. I was doing a lot of community organizing work, started a nonprofit here, attended all 3 higher education institutions, believe it or not. I just felt like, it would be a good opportunity to lead this city into being a more forward-thinking, more inclusive community.
You're not from here, you're from Milwaukee area, is that
Yes.
right? Why'd you stay?
That's a great question. I ask myself that all the time. So what happened essentially was I came here for school. I went to UWL. And while at UWL, I joined an organization called Black Student Unity. And our advisor, Barbara Martin Stanley at the time, had got us connected to doing some community work in the community. So around my sophomore year of college, I was out in the community volunteering, so on and so forth. And then I decided to stay one summer because usually I would just leave. Mm-hmm. And I was like, no, I'm gonna stay this summer and try to learn a little bit more about the community. So I worked at this day camp. It was called Empower Life Day Camp. And I just started getting to know so many community members. And I also was seeing that there was needs that weren't being met for certain community members. And I was like, okay, how can we work together to address some of these issues and things of that nature? And so it was kind of that summer that I stayed here, I just kind of fell in love with the community. I was meeting people, I was going to events, and you just kind of immerse yourself essentially in the community and that's why I stayed, I guess, the people.
Yeah, I said it in our first episode of this show. I'm not from here either. I'm originally from Northern Illinois. We moved to Western Wisconsin when I was a teenager. I fell in love with the area. It's easy to fall in love with the people and the fabric. Was community building something that was instilled in you from a young age, or is this something you fell into? I
would say it is something that has been instilled in me in a young age. When I think about my community in Milwaukee, earlier on, the way that our community was done, I grew up in a project, so North Lawn, and our parents, friends and neighbors all looked out for the kids, right? In a way that was very much community focused. We knew our neighbors. I had friends, my friends, right, were my neighbors. We would go around in the community. But the thing that I loved about our community was that every parent would make sure they were looking out for the young people, right? If I did something I wasn't supposed to, I might have thought my mom was not going to hear about it, but eventually it got to her, right? Because her neighbors would tell her. And then also even just thinking of my great-grandparents and going to their house, and they always had community. Our family would always come over there. The neighbors would come over there. My granddad was a mechanic in his backyard, and the community would come hang out with him. And from that, I learned, how to build community with people.
Do you see that here in La Crosse? Do you see that kind of fabric?
The thing that I will say yes to your question. And to add more nuance to it, I would say for some reason, and not just a La Crosse thing, but as a nation, we've gotten away from a lot of that really strong community building and neighborhood, revitalization, so to speak, right? Where I can be in a neighborhood and I don't have to know who my neighbors are. Mm-hmm. We've been very focused and very isolated. And we could argue COVID, right, definitely played a big role in that. It's definitely something that I want to address as mayor, as how do we really get back to building community and looking out for one another and really enjoying each other's company, right?
That's exactly what I want to do with you. The 24-hour news cycle, the world getting so small has turned us into neighbors and not in the friendly way. There's big fences between us now. And I think it's important that we get to know each other, and that starts with the people who are leading the city. So what's the most shocking thing about being mayor that you were not expecting in however many days it's been now?
I would say one of the biggest things is realizing how connected everything is, right? As a person looking from the outside in city government, you kind of see the detached pieces and don't necessarily have to pay attention to the inner workings behind the scene of how everything is essentially woven together to build this city, right? And so by that I mean, like, if you address housing, you got to address unemployment or employment as a whole, right? If you address whatever issue you come up with, there's so many other layers behind that.
Right.
That it's not just this like easy, like, oh, I want to change this, then it changes tomorrow.
Right.
So.
Yeah, if you want to change education, you got to start with unemployment or housing, which then you got to start with unemployment. So I understand that completely. Clearly, one of the big focuses you have is community. You've done the community bike ride, you've been in the schools a lot. You are literally opening up City Hall for people to come down and tell you what's on their mind.
Yeah.
Why?
I think it's really important for a mayor, right, the leader, the CEO of this city, to be approachable. And I didn't realize how, I guess, surprised people were about that until I was out one night and somebody was like, why are you here? Like, you're the mayor, you shouldn't be here. And I'm like, because I visit some of the bars, I go to restaurants, I go to events. And for some reason, people are really super shocked by that. But I really think the core of just being who I am is community anyway. And so, like, making sure that when I stepped foot in office, that I still made sure I was grounded with the community, I think is extremely important. And as someone who has been a community organizer for 30 plus years, right, that's just who I am by nature. So
you go home, you go to Milwaukee, you're talking to friends, family, people over there. What do you tell them about lacrosse?
Oh my God, I tell them that they need to move here.
Yeah.
I explain to people, like, there's a calmness in lacrosse, right? Lacrosse is naturally beautiful. You have the river, the bluffs, you have really awesome people. And it's just something about lacrosse that is very calming and fun, right? Some people would argue, like, there's not a lot to do here, but I don't agree. Like, there could be more. Don't get me wrong, right? Like, I'm from, again, bigger city. There's always something to do. There could be more to do here. But I really think that I appreciate the calmness and the beauty of this city. And so when I'm talking to folks, and I'm like, just come visit. And they'll come visit. And when they do come visit, they're like, oh, man, like.
I got to ask you, is your mom as warm as you are? Because you have a natural warmth to you, and it feels very feminine, like your mother had a lot of influence on you.
Most definitely. Like, my dad's pretty cold. Like,
Sure.
So I get, like, my calmness, my chill from my dad.
Oh, okay.
My dad is very, like, cool. My mom is very friendly and, like, she'll talk and build relationship with folks,
Sure.
And I think that's kind of the blend of that. Plus my grandma.
Sure, yeah. I knew I had something kind of, I was raised by my grandma too. So I tell you what, folks, we're going to get more from Mayor Washington-Spivey as the months progress. I want to sit down with you as much as we possibly can to do exactly what we did. We're going to talk about you, what you love about lacrosse in the area, what keeps you here, and what you see for the future, okay?
Thank you. I definitely appreciate that.
This is Living Local. I'm Stephen Walker.